guys, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. In this video, I am going to be sharing with you guys how I went about the cutting and sewing of this stylish two-piece. It's actually a shirt with gathered basque waistline. Please watch this video to the end so you don't miss out on how I inserted the elastic just halfway around the waist area. The measurements and materials needed for this style is on your screen, guys. I will be using these 3 yards of spandex fabric. First, place your fabric on fold. I will place my tape like this and mark out the waistline. Extend it further and also mark out the hip line. At this point, because the stylish shirt is kind of complicated, I decided to draft the pant side first. So, place your pattern paper and mark out half-inch guideline above and also by the side. After that, I will draw a line on the marks. This half-inch above will serve as the waistline. Then to mark out the waist to hip line, if you watch closely, you will notice I took out 1.5 inches from my tape. The 1.5 inches is for my waistband. So make sure to take out your waistband measurements before marking out other measurements. I went ahead to mark out my waist to hip line at 9 inches. And then marked out the crotch depth at 11 inches plus ½ inch for ease. If you don't know your crotch measurement, just divide your hip by 4. So I shifted to the other side and marked it out as well so as to get a straight horizontal line. Next, I will place my tape like this and mark out my hip measurement divided by 4. 44 divided by 4 is 11 inches. I will mark it out here, mark it here, and also here. Then use a ruler to connect and make a straight line to form a square-like shape like this. I will come here and go in by ½ inch. This is because we are fuller at the back than at the front. I will still replace it while cutting the back pattern. Next, I will use my ruler and connect the ½ inch to my hip line like this. I will place my tape on the crotch line here and mark out ½ inch. And then from that ½ inch, I will mark out my thigh circumference divided by 2. 26 divided by 2 will give 13. Calculate yours and mark it out. Please, this crotch extension here should measure at least 1 3/4 inch to 2 inches at most. Make sure it's up to that. From here, I will square out a diagonal line, and along this diagonal line, I am going to mark out 1 1/8 inch to 1 1/4 inch, and then use my French curve to connect the points like so. I will go ahead and label the hip line, the crotch depth line, and the waistline. Next, I will come down to the crotch line here and add my 1 inch or ½ inch hemming allowance and mark it out like this, making sure that it matches with the crotch depth line. Next, I will come up to the waistline and mark out my waist circumference divided by 4 plus 1/4 inch. This is because we are more fuller at the front than at the back of our waist. You can also add 1 inch for that if you are not adding elastic to your shirt. But because I am working with a stretchy fabric and I will be adding an elastic to the waist, I will leave my waist like this, then come down here and connect this ½ inch up to the hip line like this with a curve. Go ahead and mark out your waist measurement plus your dart and seam allowance if you're not adding elastic to your waistband. Next, I will use my tape and take the front crotch measurement. I got like 12 1/4 inches. I will write it down somewhere because we will still use it along the line. I will come down by ½ inch here at the crotch and then connect it to the side seam like so. That becomes the new waistline. For the basque waistline design, I placed my tape here and come down by 3 inches plus ½ inch seam allowance. I will connect it down to the crotch depth line. So I placed my ruler on the mark towards the crotch here. I remember the waistband, so I took out 1.5 inches for the waistband before placing it to measure out the 3.5 inches. After correcting it, I used my ruler to connect the mark down to the crotch. And then I went ahead to cut it out. A quick word, guys, the structural design tutorial video that I promised you guys in our last class is out. Check out the video link that just appeared to watch it now, or after the class you check the description box below for it. After cutting it out, this is what it should look like. So I labeled it as the front. Next, for the back pattern, I got another pattern paper and spread it like this. Then I cut out this waist around here, placed the front pattern on the paper, used a masking tape to hold it down, and then I labeled it as the back. Make sure to leave enough space, like 2 to 3 inches above and by the crotch side, like so. Next, on the waistline, I marked out my hip circumference divided by 4 plus half of an inch, which we took out from the front waist. I am replacing it now. Remember I told you guys I will replace it while cutting the back. Next, I will mark it out on the waistline and also mark it out on the hip line, and then connect it like this with dotted lines. I will extend the crotch extension line, the hem allowance line, the hip line, and also the waistline. On this front crotch, come up by ½ inch like this. Then use your ruler to connect it towards the side waist. Make sure to extend it like this. So at the crotch line, I am going to add ½ inch to the back pattern at this seam side. After marking it out, I will use my ruler and connect it to meet the hip line like this. Next, I will use my tape and extend this crotch line by 1 inch. I will repeat same to the hem allowance line and connect everything together. I will extend this dotted line down to the hem allowance line and then mark out a diagonal line here. Please, on this diagonal line, mark out 1 3/4 inch for small size and then 2 inches for larger sizes. Next, I am going to mark out the midpoint of this vertical line. It will serve as guide for our back crotch line. I will come in here by 1 3/4 inch depending on your waist measurement. You can decide to come in by 2 inches, and then from that point I will go upwards, making sure it's on 90 degrees angle, and mark out 1 inch. Next, I am going to connect the 4 points together. I will get my curve to place it on the points, starting from the one on the crotch line to the diagonal line. But I find it hard to actually get a smooth curve, so I decided to come down ½ of an inch from the point on the vertical line, and then I was able to get a smooth transition when drawing the curve, and it worked out for me. So please make sure to get a good and smooth curve. So I will go ahead and take out the masking tape that I used to tape down the front pattern. After taking out the front pattern, I will extend the crotch line, extend the hem allowance line, and also the hip line. I will draw the vertical line well and then label the hip, the crotch, the hem, and the waistline. Next, I will get the midpoint of the initial waist measurements like this and mark it out. Then use it to draw your dart line if you are not adding elastic to the waist area. As for me, my fabric is stretchy and I will still add an elastic to the waist, so I won't be adding that to mine. Go ahead and mark out your waist circumference divided by 4 minus ½ of an inch. This is because we are more narrower at the back of our waist than at the front. The front seems to be fuller because of our stomach. Don't forget to also add your dart, but like I said, I will be using an elastic for my waistband, so there will be no need for all of that here. I will leave my own just like this without adding or removing anything. When I add the elastic, it will cover up for everything. Next, I will extend this vertical line and also extend the diagonal line, and then connect this 1 inch line down to the seam line. I will use my ruler to draw out the seam line very well. Then go back to measure and adjust the back crotch to make sure it's correct. After measuring the back crotch, I got like 13 3/4 inches. Remember I asked you guys to measure and write down the front crotch earlier. When I measured mine, I got 12 1/4 inches for the front. So now, to get the correct back crotch, use your tape and measure your full crotch from the front all the way to the back, and then subtract the front crotch from it. When I measured my full crotch from the front all the way to the back, I got like 28 inches. So now 28 inches minus 12 1/4 inches, we will give like 15 3/4 inches. But when I measured it here on the pattern, I got 13 3/4. This simply means that my back crotch length is 2 inches short. So What I'm going to do is to take the measurement from the original waistline to the crotch line and then divide it into 3 equal parts. After dividing into 3, I am going to use anywhere around the second part. Mark it out like this and use it to adjust the crotch length. After marking out horizontal line across the marks, make sure to extend it like this. I will get my scissors and use it to slash through this point, but don't slash all the way out of the side seam. Slash and leave a tiny inch around there. Next, you need to take the total width of this very line and write it down somewhere in your mind. Now you need to open up the pants like this until you get the accurate back crotch length. According to my own measurement, I am going to open up 2 inches. Next, I am going to slip in a piece of paper right through this point and tape it down in place. Here, I am confirming that the space is up to 2 inches before taping it down. After taping it down very well, next, you want to blend this line like so. And then take the measurement just to be sure that it is accurate. After confirming that it's accurate, I will just use my ruler and mark out this line back. Now I need to take back this original measurement, which is the number I said you should write down in your mind earlier. And so because of what I cut out from the center back when I was blending it, I have to take the measurement from this point and replace that portion that was cut out on the side seam. So measure it and replace from the side seam. Right now, using my French curve, I am going to redraw the side seam like so. Guys, by doing this, we have no shortage even after adjusting the back crotch length. After that, I will label it as the back. At this point, you can go ahead and add your seam allowance all round. So before I cut it out, I will get the front pattern, place it on it to cross-check the measurements. After that, I will adjust the back pattern and then get my scissors and start cutting. After cutting, this is what I have. Next, for the basque waist design and where the pleating will start from, excluding the band measurement, I will place my tape at the side of the front pattern like this and measure out what I have, and I will use it and mark out the same point on the back pattern plus ½ inch seam allowance. After that, I will also use my ruler and connect it to the crotch line like this. Then go ahead to cut through the line. After cutting for the front, I will also cut the back on, and that will be all for the drafting. Next, to cut out on the fabric, I will first place my fabric on fold. Make sure it's double. Then arrange the fabric well. Place the front pattern on it. Here, I am trying to know where to add the seam allowance, whether to add the seam allowance or not, because my fabric is stretchy. After checking it, I noticed the edge here was not really straight, so I decided to cut off some so as to make everything equal. Next, I shifted the pattern down and started marking out 3 inches. This is because I want to use 1½ inches for the band, and I don't want to cut it separate, so I am cutting everything together. I am adding 3 inches because when you fold it in, it becomes 1½ inches. Please do not get confused here. You can just cut out your separate band and attach it to the waist after sewing, but me, I am cutting everything together. That is why I am adding the 3 inches. Don't worry, you will get it as we progress. So guys, from this picture, you will notice my elastic stopped halfway by the side. It did not show at the front. I will show you guys how I achieved this. Just keep on watching. So after marking out the 3 inches, I will place my pattern on the line like this. Arrange it very well. Go ahead and pin it down if yours is shifting. Make sure to leave ½ inch seam allowance space here. This is me pinning down the pattern to the fabric. After that, I went ahead to mark out ½ inch seam allowance around the crotch area and the side. We already added allowance to the basque area, so just add at the side and also the crotch region. Then get my scissors and started cutting. Make sure to cut through carefully till you get to the waist. After cutting, next I will get my chalk and tape and mark out the 3 inches very well on both sides. Then use my scissors and notch it so that I won't get confused during the sewing. Next, I will get the back pattern, place it on my folded fabric like so, and mark out the same 3 inches with my chalk. Then mark out half-inch seam allowance at the crotch area down and at the side region. I will get my scissors and start cutting. Cut through carefully till you get to the waist area. Also notch the 3 inches for both sides. Next is to cut the material for the pleated design. First, place your fabric on fold like this. I brought the upper part so as to use it to cross-check the short length measurement and know the length I will cut for the pleated design. After checking it, I used my chalk to mark out the measurements I need to complete the length. My full short length is 18 inches. I already have 4.5 inches for the upper part of the shirt, so I will minus 4.5 inches from the 18 inches. Whatever I get, I will use it as the length measurement for the pleated design. I got 13.5 inches, so I will add 2 inches for hemming and joining allowance, making it a total of 15.5 inches. I will go ahead and start marking out the 15.5 inches with my chalk. My measurement and yours must not be the same because our bodies are not the same. Please, for the wideness of this down part, I used my round thigh measurement times 3 because I wanted it fuller. I still added extra 10 inches to it. That's like 26 times 3. That's 78 inches plus 10 inches, making it 88 inches for the wideness. After marking out the length with my chalk, I will use my scissors to cut through the line. After cutting it out, I folded another 88 inches and placed this other one on it. Then used it to trace for the second thigh. Now I have 2 for the both thigh pleating, so I will place it like this. This one will be gathered and fixed to this leg. This other one will be gathered and fixed to this other leg. Next is the sewing part. I will take out the papers, get the front and sew through the crotch with our half-inch seam allowance. I will also sew the back crotch with half-inch, just as my index finger is directing. Then take it to my sewing machine to sew it and show you guys. I am done sewing and this is what the front looks like. Very neat. This is the back. Our pant is forming already. Next I'm going to do, I will join the both like this. Place the down crotch like so and then stitch it down. This is it guys. I have joined the front and back together from the down. Next is to join from the side. I will place it like this. Take it to my sewing machine and stitch through the side with 1 inch. This is because my fabric is stretchy. If yours is not stretchy, then go ahead and stitch with half inch. I am done joining from the side and this is it guys. Our pant is almost ready. You can add this style to your ready to wear collections. So guys, next is to fold the 3 inches we added for band. I will fold it in such a way that I will be left with 1.5 inches after sewing. But before that, I will use my tape and measure this area so as to know how many inches to pleat down for the long fabric we cut out. I will make sure to measure it carefully all round so as to get an accurate measurement. So measure yours and write down whatever you get somewhere so you don't forget. Guys, for the gathered design, I will get the long fabric and fold/hem the down part. Use the hemming allowance we added while cutting and fold it very well. After hemming the down part, this other part will be for the pleating/gathering. So I am going to gather mine like this. Do not forget the number we got after measuring this area that I said you should write down. That is what you will use to gather the long material. Gather it till it measures up to that same number. Guys, I am done gathering mine and this is what it looks like. Very full. This is for the second thigh. I will get the upper part, place them like this. I will first join one thigh, and to do that, I will arrange it well and place it this way. Now this is going to be the side. I will stitch it down later, but make sure the sides tally together while joining. I'll place it like this. Use my pin to secure it first and show you guys what it will look like after joining. After joining it to the upper part all round like this is what yours should look like, please. I have also joined the side, and as you can see, they tally together. So I will get the second one and repeat the same thing. I'll place it this way and first close the side seam, making sure their measurements tally. I will go ahead and join it to the upper part. First with my pin, then take it to my sewing machine, join and stitch everything down and show you guys. This is it, guys. I am done coupling the up and the gathered parts together, and this is what I have. Next is to fix our elastic. So for this style, the elastic did not go round. It stopped somewhere around the side because I wanted the front plain. So it's very advisable to use a stretchy fabric to achieve this. To get this method, place your tape like this from the middle and measure out 6 inches. Please mark it with your chalk. Also measure and mark 6 inches this other side. After that, I will start folding from the back. As I fold, I pin it down. I will fold everything till I get to the front. Then I will get my elastic. Now remember the 6 inches we marked out. Turn the front waist like this. Make sure to sew from these 6 inches to this other 6 inches this side. Then when you get to this 6 inches this side, you double stitch and stop. Leave like 1 inch space where you will pass your elastic from. After leaving the 1 inch space, you continue sewing all round till you get to this other 6 inches here. Then you double stitch and leave another 1 inch space for the safety pin to pass through. I will take it to my sewing machine, stitch down, remove the pins and show you guys. This is it, guys. See the 1 inch opening I left for this side. I will get my elastic. Make sure to pin a safety pin to it. For the elastic length, you can measure on your body where you want the elastic to start and stop, then minus 4 inches from it. This is the other 1 inch opening for this other side. I will pass my elastic like so and start pushing it in. After pushing it in, I will stitch it down here. Double stitch it well and also stitch back the 1 inch opening and continue passing the elastic. Getting to the other opening, I will bring out my safety pin from that side. Then double stitch down the elastic and close back the 1 inch opening. I am done stitching and this is what I have. Next, I will hem the down part and show you guys. So guys, for the blouse part of this short, please on your notification bell now so that you will be notified first whenever I post the blouse part of this tutorial. Please give me a thumbs up if this was helpful. Click on this picture to subscribe now. Drop a nice comment and share this video. Check the description box for our social media pages and group link and follow us there. Thank you so much for watching till now. See you guys in our next class. Bye.